6 Simple Habits That Make You Attractive, Stoicism. Introduction. What if becoming more attractive has less to do with your appearance, and more to do with the way you carry yourself? In a world where people are constantly trying to impress others, seek validation, show off their achievements, and prove their worth, there is something incredibly powerful about a person who doesn't need to do any of that. They are calm. They are confident. They listen. They don't desperately seek attention. They know who they are. And most importantly, they control themselves. That is where Stoicism becomes incredibly powerful. The ancient Stoics understood something that many people today have forgotten. True attractiveness begins with character. You can have expensive clothes, a beautiful face, money, status, and a large social media following, but if you are desperate for approval, easily offended, constantly complaining, or unable to control your emotions, people will eventually notice. On the other hand, someone who is disciplined, calm, respectful, emotionally stable, and comfortable with themselves naturally becomes more attractive. So in today's video, we're going to explore 6 simple habits that can make you more attractive, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and socially. And stay until the end, because the 6th habit may completely change the way people perceive you. But before we begin, if you enjoy practical Stoic wisdom that can help you become stronger, calmer, wiser, and more confident, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. Let's begin. Habit 1. Stop chasing approval. One of the most attractive things you can develop is the ability to stop needing everyone to approve of you. Think about how much of modern life is built around approval. People post pictures and wait for likes. They say things they don't believe because they're afraid of being judged. They change their personality depending on who they're around. They become desperate to be accepted. And sometimes they sacrifice their own values just to make someone else happy. The Stoics would challenge this way of living. Epictetus taught that some things are within our control and some things are not. Your actions are within your control. Your choices are within your control. Your character is within your control. But another person's opinion of you? That belongs to them. You cannot control it. And once you understand this, something changes. You stop performing. You stop begging for attention. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop trying to convince people that you're worthy. You simply become comfortable with who you are. And ironically, that often makes people more interested in you. Why? Because confidence doesn't scream. Confidence is quiet. A person who constantly says, "Do you like me?" needs reassurance. A person who says, "I know who I am, and I'm going to live according to my values," carries a completely different energy. This doesn't mean you should become arrogant. Stoicism is not about believing you're better than everyone else. It's about not believing you're less than everyone else. There is a huge difference. So practice this. Before you make a decision, ask yourself, am I doing this because it's right for me, or because I'm afraid of what people will think? That single question can change your life. You don't need everyone to like you. You need to respect yourself. Habit 2. Speak less, listen more. One of the simplest ways to become more attractive is to become a better listener. Most people listen while preparing their response. They're waiting for their opportunity to speak. Someone tells them a story, and immediately they say, "That's nothing. Let me tell you what happened to me." Someone shares a problem, and they immediately interrupt with advice. Someone expresses an opinion, and they immediately try to prove them wrong. But a genuinely attentive listener is rare. And because it's rare, it becomes powerful. The Stoics emphasized self-control. And sometimes self-control means controlling your desire to speak. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to have an opinion about everything. You don't have to dominate every conversation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply listen. Look at the person. Pay attention. Ask thoughtful questions. Remember details. Let them finish speaking. This makes people feel valued. And when people feel valued around you, they naturally feel more comfortable around you. Think about the people you enjoy being around. Often, they're not the loudest people in the room. They're the people who make you feel heard. They don't constantly bring the conversation back to themselves. They create space for others. This is a simple habit, but it can transform your relationships. Before speaking, ask, "Does this need to be said?" Then ask, "Does it need to be said by me?" And finally, "Does it need to be said right now?" That small pause is Stoic discipline in action. You don't need to fill every silence. Sometimes silence makes your words more valuable. Habit 3. Control your emotional reactions. This may be one of the most attractive qualities a person can develop. Emotional control. Imagine someone insults you. You immediately become angry. You start shouting. You send an emotional message. You post a status. You spend the entire day thinking about what happened. Now imagine a different response. You pause. You breathe. You observe what happened. You decide whether the situation deserves your attention. And then you respond calmly, or decide not to respond at all. Which person appears stronger? The second. The Stoics never claimed that you should have no emotions. That's a common misunderstanding. Stoicism is not about becoming a robot. It's about refusing to become a slave to your emotions. Anger can appear. Fear can appear. Jealousy can appear. Sadness can appear. But you don't have to obey every emotion that appears in your mind. There is a space between what happens and what you do next. Use that space. Someone doesn't reply to your message? Don't immediately assume they hate you. Someone criticizes you? Don't immediately attack them. Someone disrespects you? Don't automatically lose control. Pause. Ask yourself, what is actually happening? Then ask, what response would make me proud of myself tomorrow? That question is incredibly powerful. Because anyone can react. But a disciplined person chooses their response. And emotional stability is attractive because people feel safe around someone who isn't constantly exploding. Your goal isn't to become emotionless. Your goal is to become emotionally disciplined. Habit 4. Take care of yourself without seeking attention. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. And your daily habits are largely within your control. Your hygiene. Your fitness. Your clothing. Your posture. Your sleep. Your diet. Your environment. Your grooming. These things matter. But here's the important distinction. Take care of yourself because you respect yourself, not because you desperately need people to notice you. There is a difference between looking good and trying desperately to prove that you look good. When you take care of yourself consistently, you communicate something without saying a word. I value myself. You don't need designer clothes. You don't need to spend enormous amounts of money. You don't need to look perfect. Cleanliness, good grooming, appropriate clothing, healthy habits, and good posture can make an enormous difference. And don't underestimate posture. Walk with your head up. Stand straight. Look people in the eyes. Don't constantly look at the floor. Don't shrink yourself. But don't exaggerate confidence either. You don't need to walk into a room pretending you're the most important person there. Simply be comfortable in your own presence. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to focus on living well rather than seeking applause. That principle still applies today. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Take care of your environment. And then let your character speak for itself. Habit 5. Become a person of your word. Imagine meeting someone who always says what they mean and does what they say. If they tell you they'll call, they call. If they promise to complete something, they complete it. If they make a mistake, they admit it. If they don't know something, they say, I don't know. That person becomes trustworthy. And trust is incredibly attractive. Many people talk about confidence. But one of the deepest forms of confidence comes from knowing that you can trust yourself. When you repeatedly make promises to yourself and break them, your self-respect slowly decreases. You say, tomorrow I'll wake up early. Then you don't. I'll start exercising. Then you quit. I'll stop wasting my time. Then you repeat the same behavior. Eventually, your mind learns that your own promises don't mean much. So start small. If you say you're going to wake up at a certain time, try to do it. If you say you're going to read for 20 minutes, do it. If you say you're going to stop arguing with people online, stop. If you decide you're going to exercise 3 times a week, follow through. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. Build trust with yourself one promise at a time. And when you become someone who keeps their word, people notice. More importantly, you notice. Your confidence becomes grounded in evidence. You don't need to tell yourself you're disciplined. Your behavior proves it. You don't need to tell people you're reliable. Your actions prove it. You don't need to announce that you're strong. Your consistency demonstrates it. Habit 6. Learn to walk away. This is perhaps the most powerful habit of all. Learn when to walk away. Walk away from unnecessary arguments. Walk away from disrespect. Walk away from endless drama. Walk away from situations that repeatedly destroy your peace. Walk away from the need to have the last word. And sometimes, walk away from people who simply don't value your presence. This doesn't mean you should abandon people at the first sign of disagreement. It doesn't mean you should run away from difficult conversations. And it doesn't mean you should become cold or selfish. It means understanding the difference between something worth fighting for and something that is simply draining you. The Stoics understood that our time and attention are limited. So why spend your life trying to win every argument? Why spend hours proving someone wrong? Why repeatedly chase someone who has clearly shown that they don't want to participate? Why continue knocking on a door that someone has chosen not to open? There is dignity in walking away. Sometimes silence is stronger than an explanation. Sometimes distance is healthier than another argument. Sometimes the most powerful sentence is, "I understand. I wish you well." And then you leave. No revenge. No dramatic announcement. No desperate attempt to make them regret losing you. You simply move forward. That is real emotional maturity. Because you understand that your peace is valuable. And you refuse to exchange it for temporary validation. The deeper lesson. Now let's bring all 6 habits together. Stop chasing approval. Listen more. Control your emotional reactions. Take care of yourself. Become a person of your word. And learn when to walk away. Notice something about all 6. None of them require you to be rich. None require you to have perfect looks. None require you to have thousands of followers. None require you to impress anyone. They require discipline. And that is the deeper lesson of Stoicism. Attractiveness isn't only about how you look. It's about how you make people feel when they experience your presence. Do they feel that you're desperate? Or grounded? Do they feel that you're insecure? Or comfortable with yourself? Do they feel that you're easily manipulated? Or emotionally disciplined? Do they feel that you're constantly seeking attention? Or that you have a life of your own? The strongest form of attraction often comes from becoming someone who doesn't desperately need to be attractive. Build yourself. Develop your character. Strengthen your mind. Take care of your body. Control your reactions. Keep your word. And stop giving your power away to the opinions of others. Final message. There is something fascinating about human nature. When you desperately chase something, you often push it further away. When you desperately seek approval, you become dependent on other people's opinions. When you desperately try to appear confident, people can sense the insecurity underneath. But when you focus on becoming better rather than appearing better, something changes. You become calmer. You become stronger. You become more disciplined. You become more independent. And eventually, people notice. But here's the most important part. Don't practice these habits to make people like you. Practice them because they make you respect yourself. That's the Stoic approach. Don't ask, "How can I make everyone attracted to me?" Ask, "How can I become a person I respect?" Because once you stop living for applause, you become free. Once you stop chasing validation, you become confident. Once you control your emotions, you become powerful. Once you keep your word, you become trustworthy. Once you learn to walk away, you protect your peace. And once you build these qualities consistently, attractiveness becomes a natural side effect of becoming a better human being. So starting today, choose just one of these 6 habits. Don't try to change everything overnight. Master one, then another, then another. And 6 months from now, you may look back and realize that you didn't simply become more attractive. You became stronger, calmer, wiser, and more confident. That is the real transformation. If this video gave you something valuable, subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, practical life lessons, and powerful ideas for building an unshakable mind. And before you leave, comment below. I choose discipline over validation. Let that be your commitment. Remember, you don't become attractive by chasing attention. You become attractive by becoming someone worthy of attention. Stay disciplined. Stay calm. Stay focused. And keep building yourself. Until next time.